Hello and welcome into Illini Drive. This is Gabby Hyduke. I'm with Josh Peach today. I feel like I say this every time, but it's been a while. I've been so just like in and out of Illini Drive the past couple months. Work and school has really taken over, but I'm here today. My God, with a cough apparently. No, but me and Josh are here today to talk some Illini basketball, some Illini baseball, and some Illini football. So,
all things Illini today.
all things Illini today. There's lots of stuff going on, even though it's the off season for football and basketball. Josh, how are you? How's your day been?
Really busy. I went home this past weekend for Easter, so the last couple of days have just been catch up for me, which there's nothing wrong with that. I mean, spend some time with family, get back, and then just, gotta get back on the school grind. So really just doing school all day. I watched a little bit of the Cubs game, saw them win, which was nice. Craig Kimbrell's seemingly back to his all-star form, which is nice. But yeah, just school. How about you, Gabby?
Just chilling. Same. I was also home over the weekend for Easter. And so yeah, I'm not even playing catch up. I'm just letting it fly by me.
Well, do what you got to do.
Do what you got to do in these times. I'm ready for the semester to be over.
See, I am too. Like, leaving Champaign makes me very sad.
Yeah.
But I'm
But this semester has been too much.
Especially because it's, every day it looks better and better for in-person school in the fall. And although in-person tests will stink, it'll be nice to, have normal school. I'm really just done with the whole online thing.
Yeah,
I didn't think it would bother me this much. But
no, I'm so over it.
It's not fun.
It's been hard. It's been really hard. But we're almost there, hopefully. Hopefully my senior year or your junior year is normal and we can have some normal fun. But yeah, so let's get right into it. We're going to start off with some Illini basketball news. Very sad, but understanding. Georgi Bishanishvili, he just finished up his junior year at Illinois, backup center, behind Kofi. He declared for the NBA draft, which really means he's going to play overseas. I think that's just like his way of, obviously I don't think he has any like inclination that he's going to get drafted. I don't think he thinks that either, but the plan for him really is to go play overseas, be close to his family who he has not lived with for years, who he's seen barely in the last 3 years, So I'm happy for him. It's sad. Georgie's always been a good guy to interview, a great guy to interview, actually probably the best interview on this campus, to be honest. Such a, just big personality. And it's contagious. Like, he has a very contagious personality. So it'll be really sad to see him go. Can't say I'm very surprised, though. I don't think I'm guessing his plan all along has been to go back home eventually, make money for his family. And, if there's nothing else left for him here, then why not?
Yeah. The rumors started, I think, like 2 weeks ago about Georgie. And when I first heard it, I was like, oh, wait a minute. Like, he's a junior. He's clearly not going to get drafted. Why would he leave? Then I thought about it more. And especially like when Omar Payne came here, I was kind of just like, all right, if Kofi comes back, it doesn't sound like Georgie's going to get any more playing time than he did this year. He could play in Europe. He's athletic enough to do that. He hasn't seen his family in years, I think. I think plural, years.
No, his mom and brother came down last year.
Okay, so probably over
a
year,
barely,
though, right?
just terrible. For like a day or two.
I go like a month without seeing my mom. I'm like, holy moly. Like,
yeah.
I need to go see my parents. So honestly, I'm with you, Gabby. It doesn't surprise me that much at all. Like, I think it's a business decision on his part. He's going to go make money in Europe, finally get to be with his family. I think him saying, by the way, he's going to the NBA draft, like, he might get to work with some NBA trainers maybe for a little bit just because he's not a senior and he declared. So good for him. Go get a little bit better. Go to Europe, make some money, be with your family. Congrats, dude. Like, thanks for everything.
Yeah, I think if you're, an Illinois fan or just even someone who's covered Georgie, like, you have to be happy for him. You have to support that. So, I think it's one of those things where it's sad because he is such a good guy and he's a good backup. I mean, Illinois does not win the Big Ten championship without Georgie.
Absolutely not.
So, I think that's definitely like one of his lasting legacies here. Obviously had that monster freshman year, which was so fun to be a part of. And and, just learning alongside Io. And, now there's no one left from the 2018 class.
Well, unless Trent or DeMonte. Oh, you mean from the class?
From the class, because you have Alan Griffin gone, Samba King gone. Who was Georgie, Io? Who was the? Oh my God, I'm trying to.
Tevian Jones.
Him, and there was one other.
Did he transfer?
Yeah. After I know him.
Give me some more on the years. I want to get this before you tell me.
He was their age. He never played though because he always had a foot injury. It's like no, not AJ.
And he transferred?
Yes. Like no one's really heard of him since.
When did he transfer? At the end of last year with Tev?
No, he transferred after freshman year. This makes me so mad. I
actually don't know who you're talking about. I'm sure I'll know the name or recognize it at least, but I have no clue who you're talking about.
Anthony Higgs.
I've never heard that name in my life.
Are you serious?
Yeah, never.
He was on the team their freshman year and then never played.
In high school.
Yeah, you weren't here yet. So, yeah, so no one's left from that class. Georgie's the last one to say goodbye, which is weird. But I think it just goes to show that turnover in college basketball right now is so weird.
Things are getting really, really weird in college basketball. I'm with you. I mean, this team is going to look totally different next year than it did this year. Like
completely.
Curbelo, assuming Kofi moves on, I'm not sure he will. We can talk about that in a second. But like Curbelo is going to be our star. 2 years ago, we didn't even know who that kid was. We were like, oh, you know what I'm saying? Like, this is going to be very, very weird because let's say Kofi does leave. Your starting lineup's probably going to be Omar Payne, Austin Hutcherson, Jacob Grandison, Curbelo, and then Goody or Melendez.
So you have no returning starters.
None. Except for maybe Grandison, maybe.
Oh, yeah, I forgot. But he only started the back half of the season. Like, you have no... That's so weird. Because Things
are going to look different.
Things are going to look very different.
Like, believe me, I trust Brad. I'm all in on Brad Underwood. I don't want him to leave. I wouldn't want anyone else.
No.
But, man, this is getting weird.
Yeah, he's going to really have to pull something off. Obviously, they're going to be, I don't want to say nowhere near, but very far from what they were this season. I think they could still be solid and be competitive, but they're not going to be what they are or what they were this past season.
I am going to disagree slightly. I think if Kofi stays, they can win the Big Ten again. I really do.
No, there's no way.
I do. Yep.
No, Michigan is going to be the best team. They have tons of recruits.
ESPN seems to think that Purdue's going to be the best team. Did you see that? They must have a lot of faith in that Trevion Williams kid because
he's really good.
ESPN.
That's the thing, though, is a lot of like big guys have stayed. Trace Jackson Davis is staying. Like Illinois is not. I don't even think they're like top 3 Big Ten teams next year at all.
All right, haters, come on, keep them coming.
It's not haters. It's just the fact. It is what it is. You have one returning starter.
You're a hater.
I'm not a hater.
You kind of are.
Maybe in like 2 years. Not a hater, but
all right. So,
you can't deny that all these other Big Ten teams who are returning their stars.
Yeah, you're right.
Illinois is losing 2 of their stars. All of their stars.
One of their stars, Io. The other one might be returning.
Gone.
If Kofi is gone, Illinois
gone.
is not making the tournament probably. But if Kofi stays, I think they can win the Big Ten.
That makes no sense.
It makes a lot of sense.
If Kofi stays, I could see them top 3, but there's no way they beat out Michigan. Indiana looks really good. Race Thompson just said he's staying.
Indiana's whatever. Michigan, yes,
coach.
They're good. I mean, Hunter Dickinson, is Livers gone? I know Mike Smith, their point guard, just declared for the draft. That's surprising.
Yeah, but they have like the top recruiting class.
Franz, yeah.
Franz
is gone.
Is he?
Yeah, he's going to be a first-round draft pick. He's going to go ahead of Io.
Oh, yeah, true.
If he's gone, Livers is gone, Mike Smith's gone. That's not great, but you still have Zeke something, number 55. You know what I'm talking about?
Yeah.
Him, Dickinson, then you're right, one of the best recruiting classes in the country. I think that ESPN, when they put out their
they still have
teams,
Brandon Johns, who did really huge things for them.
Whatever.
down the stretch. Eli Brooks is a senior.
That's what I'm talking about. Eli Brooks, number 55.
You could maybe see him using his COVID year. Maybe even Isaiah Livers using his COVID year because he was hurt.
I think Livers is going to go make $1 million in the NBA.
He could, yeah.
Him staying for this past year was a big deal. I don't know if you remember. Like he could have gotten drafted. ESPN released their way too early, and obviously Gonzaga was number 1, UCLA was number 2. I'm pretty sure Purdue was number 3. There's a decent chance Purdue, ESPN thinks they're gonna win the Big Ten. I'm gonna check real quick because it doesn't make
Purdue was solid this year.
It doesn't surprise me too much. I'll say that. They were solid this year. Obviously they go and lose to North Texas or whatever.
Well, yeah.
But everyone loses bad games.
Well, yeah, everybody in the Big Ten lost really bad games.
Here you go. Number 1, Gonzaga. Number 2, UCLA. Yep. Number 3, Purdue. Number 4, Ohio State. Number 5, Kansas. Yeah, that's their preseason top 5. So you have Ohio State and Purdue in there. But Lydell is going to go pro, isn't he? He's got to.
I don't know.
Do you not think so?
I don't think so. I don't know. Purdue returns most of their guys. That's the thing. Is they're a very veteran team. Trevion Williams, Sasha Stefanovic.
Sasha Stefanovic is coming back.
He's only a junior.
Oh my gosh, I thought he was a senior. It feels like he's been in the Big Ten
Aaron
forever.
Wheeler was good. Yeah. I don't know. I think Illinois is falling to middle of the Big Ten if Kofi leaves.
What if Kofi stays? Oh, if Kofi leaves for sure, but what if he stays?
If he stays,
top 4.
I would say top 4, yeah, but they're not going to beat out Michigan. I genuinely think Indiana is going to be really good next year.
I don't know.
Indiana was already solid this year. Trace Jackson Davis coming back, Race Thompson. They've got a couple transfers, new coach, new culture. I think they could start really making a case.
All right, here's what I'll say.
Top 3 Big Ten.
Ayo goes out, right? And then just look at the Michigan game. Curbello's still there.
Yeah, but that's so different.
If Trent comes in, then Ty ties in. Adam Miller gets replaced by Luke Goodyear Melendez. DeMonte, Austin Hutcherson, and then Georgie Omar Payne. It's the same team.
No, it's not. It's so different. First of all,
how is it so
just
different?
being without Ayo is so different.
But he wasn't on the court, Gabby. He wasn't.
I know, but that's different. He wasn't on the court for how many games? That team is fueled by Ayo. Not saying that they're obviously they were all skilled enough to beat those teams, but it's because I don't know. I think people look too much at oh my God, they were so good without Ayo. Ayo's energy was still there, and they were playing for him. You know what I mean? Not saying that they didn't win those games in their own right, but
I still think it's worth noting though that their best game of the year by far came without Ayo on the court. Let's be honest, that Michigan game that they won, their second best game of the year wasn't even close to that because that's either the Big Ten championship or at Ohio State.
That was clearly just also a bad game by Michigan.
We locked them up. We balance offense. We were awesome, and there was no Ayo.
They were awesome.
They won by 23.
Yeah. I'm just saying I think you're putting too much stock into those couple games.
All I'm saying is that they can be really good again next year if Kofi stays.
They can be good.
What if Miller, there's buzz that Miller doesn't want to leave. It's all his mom. So what if he does end up back here?
He's not going to.
I agree with you, but what if he does?
He won't. You can't play the what if game just to
just
say they're going to be good. Yeah, but what did
I was going to make the point that it might not make a difference whether Adam comes back.
Yeah, he didn't do that much.
No, he didn't. So
that's what I'm saying. I don't think, even with Kofi back, they're not a 1, they're not a 2. I don't even know if a 3 team in the Big Ten. Because I don't know, you don't know what Austin Hutcherson is really bringing back. Obviously, everyone's saying he's going to be great, but you don't know until he's in game situations. Yeah, you could look good working out, look good training, but until you're in that Big Ten situation, in those top 10 matchups, you really don't know. And again, when Ayo was out, and sure, I'm not taking anything away from Curbelo. I think he's going to be a great player, but you also still don't know what he's going to be like without a guy like Trent also with him.
Well, if Ty comes in, Ty's going to – if Ty hopefully does come, he's a better player
how many
than Trent.
recruits have we thought in the last year
I know
that are going to Illinois that don't? So I'm not going to put any weight onto a recruit coming. I'm not putting any weight on a recruit coming. And again, that's a freshman coming in. Sure, Curbelo had a really good freshman year, but you look at Adam Miller, who was a 5-star, who really didn't do much his freshman year. It could go either way. Again, Luke Goody could go either way. I think he'll probably transition to college quickly, but you don't know that. I'm just saying there's too many question marks right now to be like, yep, they're still going to be a good team even if Kofi comes back. They'll still be solid because Kofi can just outpower people. But if you also don't have weapons on the perimeter and Kofi hasn't progressed at all on passing out, then you're in the same situations you were at the end of, or not even at the end, but just those couple bad games that Illinois had last year. If they shut down Kofi, you have nothing.
What's Kofi staying for? I mean, if he stays, he's going to work on that type of stuff in the offseason. Like, obviously, nothing's a guarantee.
He's going to work on it, but, I'm sure they've tried working on it. You know what I mean? I'm sure they've never tried to tell him, pass out. He might just not have an eye for it. You know what I mean? Like, obviously, I'm sure he'll get better, but is it going to be good enough? I don't know. I don't know if a Curbelo-Kofi team, it'll be good. It would be good, but it's not going to be top in the Big Ten. There's too many other teams that are making themselves a lot better in the offseason.
All I'm saying is that if Kofi stays and if Ty does come, and we are the leaders for him, but again, if that happens,
we've been the leaders for 5 guys.
Huh?
We've been the leaders for a couple different guys.
Not at the end.
Yeah, the last day. Who's the kid who went to the ball? That was super quick. Illinois were.
Yeah, DePaul dropped him a bag though. Listen, all I'm saying is if Ty does come and Kofi stays, the pieces presumably are there to have a very winning team. That's all I'm saying here. I mean, I'm not guaranteeing anything. I'm just saying, in my opinion, if Kofi stays and if Ty comes, you have the pieces to be almost as good as you were this year, even without Io. That's all I'm saying.
I disagree. I think even if all of that, you're still relying too much on freshmen and newcomers and just solely relying on, falling back on Curbelo and Kofi, which is a great fallback. But, I just think there's too many new pieces to all fit right away. You know what I mean? When you have a few freshmen that you're going to have to rely on, if you're saying Ty, Luke Goody, then you bring in Austin Hutcherson, who's been away from the team for a year. That's 3 new key pieces that you're trying to bring in. And then the Florida transfer, Omar Payne, that's 4 new pieces you're trying to bring in, and you need them to all mesh together in a matter of months. That seems very unrealistic.
I project that Hutcherson is going to develop the way Grandison did, where at first he's going to be bad, or not necessarily bad, just a little uncomfortable. But look at Grandison. He didn't play in a key game, and then he ended up getting huge minutes in all our important games this year. I think Hutcherson's going to be kind of like that because he's played before, he just hasn't played here. And people need to learn to mesh together, but that's why they're going to have a full non-conference schedule this coming year. They're going to have a Thanksgiving tournament. They're going to have a ton that they can play in.
Yeah.
So it's not going to be there at first, and I don't expect this team to be any good, anywhere near where they were this year at the beginning of at the beginning of next year. But if they come together, I'm just saying there's a lot of talent there. Other teams rely on freshmen to do well. Why can't Illinois do it?
Yeah, I'm just saying you're relying on multiple freshmen, and that's hard to do.
It is hard to do.
And you're relying on a transfer. So I think the pieces would have to come. The pieces are there. I agree, but they have to come together at the right time, and then you're asking freshmen to evolve pretty quickly. So I think it's way too early to I'm not gonna set an expectation on Illinois until I really see what this team is going to look like.
We also have to know what they're working with. Because
there's so many what ifs on recruiting and transfers. Is Kofi leaving? Are we going to pick up another transfer? The transfer market is huge right now. So I'm sure Underwood's working to get another transfer in here. So I think it's one of those things. Last season, you kind of knew what this team was going to look like. It was either going to go one way if Kofi and I were gone, or a completely opposite way if they stayed. Now there's too many like moving parts to really be like, they could be like top 3, they could be top 5, or they're gonna be bad. You know what I mean? So I think it's a little way too early to even, I guess, gauge a success like expectation.
If Miller, like, would you be saying all this even if Miller didn't leave?
Yeah, because from what I saw out of Miller this year, obviously he has talent, but the thing is, Underwood let him shoot the ball. It wasn't like Underwood said, "Oh, you can't be a part of the offense." Like, and I understand that's why he's leaving, is because he didn't get the looks he wanted. But Underwood literally let him shoot whenever, and he missed most of the time. And through the entire season, every press conference, Underwood said, Miller can still shoot. Like, he still had faith in Miller. Like, it was never, I didn't see it as Underwood was not letting him do his thing. Underwood gave him full, like, let him do what he wanted. Like, he let him shoot all the time. And Miller just wasn't making them. And I think that, like, obviously the beginning of the season or, halfway through the season, you can be like, oh, he's just, like, having, he's off right now. But when that continues through the whole season, like, I just don't know if it was there. Like, I think he's super talented, and I'm sure he'll develop eventually, but, like, it was not there. The offense wasn't there. His defense was great. He developed into a great defensive player, but Illinois needs offense. I mean, when Io, your main offensive scorer, I mean, he literally scored 20-ish points a game. And if you're saying, and like, even if Kofi leaves, like, your half of your offense is completely gone. So I'm not too worried about defense on Illinois right now. I think Underwood can turn any guy into a defensive player. We've seen that with Miller, Curbelo, Io, Trent, DeMonte. Like, he can do that. You can't just turn the offense on. You know what I mean? Like, you have to have that skill. And I think that's the problem that they're going to run into this season. And that's why I'm so skeptical, is because I don't see sure, Curbelo can create offense. He's not going to put up what Io put up, And so I think there's a lot of offensive holes, and Miller clearly wasn't even filling that. Like, Miller couldn't even fill that last year. So I don't know. I think either way, if Miller were to decide to come back, which I don't think he would, I don't think it changes my opinion.
Who scored against Loyola? Who
Miller.
was the only
That's
person
one
to play
game.
well?
You can't say one game.
It was later in the season.
He scored one. He had a big game once.
Well, no, that's not true. He had a couple.
Well, no, I'm saying at the end of the season, like, sure, he had a good game against Loyola, but that's also because they were like, he was wide open. Like, Adam Miller was wide open because they were doubling Io, they were doubling Kofi. Like, no offense to Adam, but he was wide open. You have to make those wide open shots. And he's also been wide open plenty of times during the season, and he wasn't making those shots. So they were just falling that day. So I don't know. I think there's a lot left to figure out for Illinois basketball, but that'll wrap up our discussion on Illinois basketball for now. Hopefully we don't get any more news of people leaving in the next couple weeks. Can't really afford that at this point. But when we come back, we'll be talking a little bit about Illinois baseball. This is Illini Drive. Welcome back to Illini Drive. We're going to talk a little bit about something we don't really talk about on here, or at least we haven't too much, but baseball season is in full swing. Not really going to talk about the MLB today, but we're going to talk about Illinois baseball, college baseball, Big Ten baseball. I currently am one of the beat writers for baseball, so, this is one of my favorite things to talk about right now. Unfortunately, though, baseball team is, I'll put it nicely, they're not doing very well right now.
Can I put it not so nicely?
Go ahead.
They stink.
They're 8-10.
They're not good.
They can't win a series to save their life. Yeah, let's go through.
You beat Minnesota. Congratulations.
So they went 1-3 against Ohio State opening weekend. Ohio State's a good team. Minnesota, they went 3-1. Okay, good. Then you go 1-1 against Michigan, who's a really good team, and 1-1 against Michigan State, who's not a really good team. And the loss they had against Michigan State was 11-0. So that's brutal. Then you go 1-2 against Northwestern. Then they went 1-2 against Nebraska last weekend. They played number 24 Indiana this weekend, so it's looking like another 1-2 weekend.
The one thing I'm noticing, and I will disclaimer here, I've been keeping up with Illinois baseball, but I haven't followed it as much as I probably should. I'm just very busy. Even in the games they win, 8 runs given up, 8 runs given up, 3 runs given up, 4 runs. Like, you give up a lot of runs, even when you win. They can't pitch to save their lives.
Yeah, their team ERA is 6.53.
That's abysmal.
That's a little rough. Their typical starters, Andrew Hoffman, his ERA is 3.68. There's Cole Kirscheiber was a starter for, I think, 3 weeks. His ERA is 9.16. Ty Rabarchek, probably said that wrong. I'm sorry, Ty. His ERA, he was also a starter for 3 or 4 weeks, 11.22. Okay. Riley Gowans has started a few times, 5.87 ERA.
Nathan Lavender's good.
Nate Lavender is probably the only solid pitcher right now. And he started last weekend for the first time. Or I think, maybe he started Northwestern too. But he started the season as reliever, was doing really well. So they brought him in as a starter because nobody else has been able to do anything. And he's held his own. I mean, his ERA right now is 1.13. He's 3-0. He has not lost so far, knock on wood. So last weekend was his first start. He's appeared in 5 games, started in 1. He's pitched 16 innings and only given up 2 runs. So that's pretty impressive. Giving up 12 hits, but I mean,
yeah, that's not bad at all. That's his whip is under 1. That's amazing. That's like
27 strikeouts.
Yeah.
Which Andrew Hoffman, who's pitched the most innings, also has 27 strikeouts. So Nate's been really good. Lavender's been really good. But if you're playing a 3-game series and you only have one solid pitcher.
And sometimes he won't even go because I assume they have more than a 3-man rotation. They probably run 4 or 5.
Well, yeah, because he wasn't a starter to start the season. He just started getting the start because everybody else has been so bad. The pitching is honestly horrific right now. They have solid bats. That's the thing. So let me back up a little bit. Just talking about this season. Illinois has the best batting average in the Big Ten as a team.
Really?
They have the top batting average. They hit 294 as a team. Below them is Nebraska, 287, and Northwestern, 280. Northwestern has like 2 of the top hitters in the Big Ten. Anthony Calarco hits 397, and Sean Gooseberg hits and David Dunn hits 367. But when Illinois and Northwestern played 2 weekends ago, Calarco had over 400 average. He was really good. And so did Dunn. They were both hitting like incredible. So Illinois legit has the best batting average in the Big Ten.
Does
pitching,
Brandon Comia have the best?
Does
he have the best batting average in the? He hits 403. That's got to be up there, right?
No, Minnesota. Zach Rabe hits 431. Comia is number 3. So Comia has the number 3rd best batting average in the Big Ten, 403, and Justin Janis, another Illinois guy, has the 9th best in the Big Ten, 377. So they have really good bats.
Oh, they can hit.
They can hit. Comia hits 403. Janis hits 377. One of their transfers, Jackson Raber, has been incredible. He hits bombs. 313. He has a team high 6 home runs. 18 RBIs. He's just incredible. Taylor Jackson, their leadoff center fielder, hits 320. And Ryan Hamby, another transfer, hits 306. And Cam McDonald hits 292. So you have 1, 2, 3, 4, 6 guys hitting near 300 or above. I mean, they're incredible on offense. Like their top 6 guys are incredible. And then you have Kellen Sarver who hits 211, and then you kind of have an influx of guys hitting the rest of the order. I mean, Zach Hartlib has played a bit. Jacob Campbell has played a lot. He hits 371. Brody Harding has played some. He only hits 182. Nathan Ade hits 280. Like, they have really solid bats. Andrew Kim hits 250. So the offense is not the problem. The offense is great. But when your pitchers are giving up double-digit runs like every other game, you're never going to win.
Yeah.
And you don't even have a chance to win. That's the problem, is like you can be the best team, the best hitting team in the Big Ten, like Illinois is, but when you're facing solid pitching, you're simply just not gonna score 20 runs a game. And when you have really poor pitching that's giving up, it feels like 20 runs a game. Like, you're not even giving yourself a chance to win.
It seems like they have good defensive efficiency too. It doesn't seem like defense is the problem either.
No, they've had a total of 18 errors this season compared to 23 from their opponent.
Yeah, that's fine.
That's not bad.
That's not the issue at all. It seems like, yeah, I mean, like, I follow them on Twitter.
Like, they have a team 973 fielding percentage.
It seems like, fine. Yeah, that's really good. It seems like when I'm, like, following them on Twitter, every other game is, like, Nebraska takes the lead, Illinois takes the lead, Nebraska takes the lead. Like, come on.
It's dude. Because the hitting is really good, so they can compete for most of the game. But then when you're on your 7th, 8th pitcher, you're clearly at the bottom of the bullpen. These guys are just like, this is like, not to be offensive, but like high school level, you know, like pitching. And not even that, but when when teams are seeing great pitchers every other weekend, and then they come to Illinois and the pitching staff is what it is right now. I mean, that's like a cakewalk for these opponents.
It feels like you're handed meatballs.
Exactly. So then everybody's just hitting. You have every guy on the team hitting. And Illinois can't compete with that for 9 innings when they're facing good pitching. You know what I mean? So it's like the pitching staff, the defense, not even the field, but just the pitching staff is really giving you zero opportunities to win.
Well, I mean, I guess before we go to break, I just want to ask you, because like you've been in those meetings, has anyone asked Coach like, what's going on, dude?
Yeah, so after Northwestern, actually, I asked him, I was like, you know, what's going on with the pitching? I was just like, your team went from having 2 of the best pitchers in the Big Ten, Ty Weber, Garrett Acton last year. 2 years ago, they had Andy Fisher. Like, they were a really good pitching team these last several years. I was like, how do you go from that to now, you know, struggling to even have a solid rotation? And he basically said, he was like, this was Northwestern. So this was 2 weekends ago. He was like, this needs to be like a gut check weekend. He was like, if guys can't figure it out after this weekend, then they might need to consider other options. They didn't fix it last weekend. So I can't imagine that he's going to want a lot of these guys staying around next year.
Well, I mean, Hoffman's all right. Like,
Hoffman's good, okay. But he's also been dealing with some injury this season.
Yes.
So he's back in the lineup this weekend. So the starters this weekend are Nate Lavender, Friday, Riley Gowans, Saturday. Riley has been solid. He missed 2 weekends ago because he was dealing with soreness because he had Tommy John his freshman year.
Ooh, Tommy John is a college freshman. Yeah. There you go, buddy.
So
all right.
He's obviously had a harder time just adjusting to being a starter. And then you have Hoffman back in the lineup for Sunday. So I think this might be their best pitcher lineup right now. So I think this really has to be the weekend they turn things around. Otherwise, and it's really unfortunate because talking to these guys in the preseason and talking to Hartlib in the preseason, like, there was a lot of confidence that this team could literally go to Omaha. Like, And now,
Really?
yes. Yeah. Because it was just, apparently practice was great in the fall and in the winter. And the team was just as a collective, like you could just hear it in their voices, like how actually excited and how high the expectations were for this season. So I'm sure it's hitting them hard, but you got to regroup at some point. Like you got to take the gut check, and now you got to improve. And if you can't do that, I mean, I don't know if you're, I don't know if you're cut out to be a professional baseball player, which a lot of these guys want to be. So I think this needs to be the weekend. I mean, they're about halfway through, or not halfway, almost halfway through their season. I'd say like a third of the way right now, little over a third through their season. Now has to be the time. So we'll see. We'll check back in next week about baseball.
Yep.
We're going to go to a quick break. When we come back, we're going to wrap up with some Illinois football talk. Welcome back to Illini Drive. We're going to wrap things up with a quick Illinois football talk. The spring game is what, about a week and a half away now?
A week from Monday, April 19th.
A week from Monday, we have the first Bielma spring game. How exciting.
Ooh, I'm excited. I'm very excited.
I guess we can talk a little bit about just, what we've heard from the team this spring. I think there's a lot of optimism around the program.
Yeah.
And genuine optimism, not fake lovey optimism.
Lovey. You already said today.
Yes, I did.
Man, what a clown.
That he didn't have time to establish his defense.
No, he had about 3 different opportunities to change stuff.
You had 5 years, Lovey.
He doubled down on the Tampa 2 like 3 different times. That's not good.
It's sickening. I don't really want to talk about Lovey.
Baby.
So we're not. We're going to talk about Bielma. We're going to talk about. We both said before the show started, we were, talking a little bit about, what we were going to go through today. This team probably won't be great next year.
No.
And that's okay. It doesn't have to be. No one really expects it to be. And if you do expect it to be, you clearly don't watch enough college football.
The blind optimism, I understand it. But, yeah, they're not going to be good next year. They don't have the talent.
I think they'll be solid. Not solid, but, they won't be horrendous.
Here, I'll put it like this. And nothing against this guy because I love him. I love talking to him, and I do like him as a player. But, people feel good about our defensive back groups because we're led by Tony Adams. I love Tony Adams, and he's great, but, that's not your star-studded guy that you're supposed to be looking forward to.
Who feels good about it?
Jake Hans, just people, around that I've, talked to, just, the sports group chat in my...
No offense.
Rather, people.
Love
what?
Tony Adams. If you feel good about Tony Adams leading your defensive back crew, you don't watch college
That's what I'm
football.
saying. Jake Hansen, someone awesome to feel great about. Chase Brown is someone to feel good about. Yeah. There's a lot of... Brandon and Isaiah have pretty high ceilings. They have yet to reach it, but there's a new coaching staff in there. And then
Brandon
the coaching
have
staff,
a high ceiling?
He does. And then the coaching staff is, something that you could feel good about too. But let's just be honest here, everyone. There's not a lot of talent there. You have a great coaching staff, but there's just not a lot of talent. You have no wide receivers. You kind of had some tight ends. You have a very weak defensive line and no defensive backs. I'm just saying,
no, I know.
Awesome coaches. It's fun doing stories on these guys, but it's just not a lot to work with. 4 or 5 wins, maybe. And I'll feel happy about that.
5. Woo, that's optimistic. I'm going 3 or 4.
I think 5 can happen.
I mean, that's an okay season then. That's not sucking.
They're not going to stink. They're just not. They don't have the talent to do.
Well, no,
anything.
And that's okay. I think my expectations. I just want to stick to the spring for now. I don't want to get too far ahead, but my expectations for the spring are just to see guys improve. I feel like we didn't see a lot of that under Lovey. We didn't see guys make big jumps. I want to see younger guys, even older guys, Roderick Perry or even Isaiah Gay, who really has not lived up to potential.
Owen Carney, maybe.
Owen Carney. Brandon Peters. Yeah, I want to see these guys with this new coaching staff and a new system and a new culture present that is very obvious that there's a whole different feel to this program. I want to see people improve. I just want to see steps in the right direction that are going to give me hope for the future. I think you talk to the coaching staff, you talk to the players, things feel really great right now. I think everyone's going to get a little gut check come fall time. But I think right now you just have to focus on making improvements in every category. I think, yeah, you could look at like the defensive backs are super weak, but if you can just make small improvements, that shows you what this coaching staff is able to do with not a lot of talent. Imagine what they can do when they get talent, which they're already doing with their recruiting. I mean, they're already recruiting pretty well just to start. You know, obviously we're only a couple months into their recruiting process, and it looks like it's moving in the right direction. So I think this spring, I just want to see improvements in every position group.
Yeah, no, I agree. And I mean, obviously the offensive line is going to be good. You have good running backs. It's something I did want to touch on real quick, though, that I was thinking about the other day. I was talking to someone about it. Brandon Peters had every reason just to leave. He could have either transferred or just declared
he didn't.
for the Brandon coming back is like Brandon sees something in the coaching staff.
No, Brandon realized he had no other opportunities because he
could have transferred somewhere.
He's not good. He could have transferred to a small school.
I disagree. I think that there is some Power 5 school that would have taken him. I mean, look at him. He doesn't have any receivers to throw to this year. You were surprised when he stayed too. I remember us talking about it that morning because I wrote a little brief on it that you had me do. Like, you were surprised about it too.
I was not surprised.
Yes, you were. I remember your reaction. We were all. It was very unexpected. I thought he was gone. This dude's old. He has like 2 different degrees.
I was surprised he stayed because I figured he would just be done with football.
Exactly. That's part of what I'm saying. He clearly sees something in this coaching staff, and maybe it's because he has a great offensive line. Maybe it's, I don't know, if he just loves Brett
I would have rather just have him leave and give me Isaiah time.
Okay, we don't need your pessimism right now. I'm just saying that there's clearly...
Not good.
Gabby, let me get my point across. There's clearly something that he sees in this group that he thinks can elevate him to the next level, or else he would have left. He's not a very vocal guy. He does not have any receivers to throw to. You have a good offensive line, which is probably not as good as we think it is, by the way. But, he clearly sees something that can get him to the next... Because why would he stay if he doesn't think he could still be an NFL draft prospect? That's all I'm saying. That's all I'm saying. Coaches, through the roof. Players, we have through the roof down to very low ceiling. Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, I think the coaching staff is great.
Yeah.
I know Brandon Peters is going to get the start. I don't like that.
Yeah, he is.
I'd rather... give me Isaiah Williams, but I don't think that's going to happen. Something interesting. How do you feel about Marquez Beeson, wide receiver?
He's playing both ways, right?
I thought he's just wide receiver.
I thought I heard he was playing both ways. Marquez, I mean, if this is his secret talent that hasn't come out, I mean, he was a very good defensive back in high school.
Yeah.
And
did not show it last year.
He was hurt half the time last year. He was. We saw him in a boot.
Yeah. He was in a boot for a week.
He must be a decent wide receiver then if they're going to permanently move him considering the...
Or just because they have no one on wide
Yes, receiver. That's true, but you also have no depth at your DB position, so he must be at least decent. I don't know. I mean, that kind of sums up Illinois football right now.
I'm sure he's good at wide receiver. I'm not doubting that at all. I'm sure he has talent at wide receiver. I mean, he's quick. He's obviously a great athlete. I mean, he was a 4-star guy for a reason. I kind of like it. Remember last season, I was like, I want him to return punts. I was on to something.
I think you were.
I was on to something.
Good job, Gabby.
Dilma heard me. He listened to our radio show, and he was like, you know what, Gabby's right. Let me put him back there. So,
well,
we'll see how it works out. I kind of like it, but again, now you even have less depth at defensive back. So I wouldn't be surprised if they had him play both ways and maybe eventually just put him back at defensive back. Who knows? We'll see.
Yeah, I mean, listen, you lose him at Bebe, Eifler, Hobbs, maybe Epstein. I don't know. Hope he comes back, by the way. He's a really good guy.
I don't think he will.
I don't think he is, but he's a good guy.
Yeah.
You're going to win a couple games next year. It's not like they're going to go 2 and whatever, but 3, 4, 5 is probably where they sit. But that being said, I'm still really excited. I'm excited to see the spring game. I'm excited to, see in person what this new culture is of the team because all the players and all the coaches are saying the exact same thing. They're all bought into Brett 100 times. I talked to Corey Patterson the other day. He loves him. He praised him. And Corey Patterson, by the way, is a man of very few words, and he went on and on about Brett. So I think it just speaks volumes to where Brett has this has this team going. So positive direction. Probably won't be good this year, but I'm optimistic for the next few years.
I agree. I think there's good reasons.
Yeah.
Good reason to be. All right, well, that's going to wrap up our show today. Brennan and Nathan will be back next Monday. And hopefully we'll be back next week to talk a little bit about some positive Illinois baseball, maybe some positive Illinois basketball. Hopefully, maybe. We'll see. This has been Illini Drive.